So we've all gotten pretty used to AI that can write, but what happens when that same AI can suddenly see, hear, and even watch videos? Well, that's the new reality we're in, and figuring out how to secure these powerful multimodal AI systems is, frankly, becoming one of the biggest challenges for security leaders today. Let's break down what that really means.
Yeah, and this quote, it absolutely nails it. With powerful systems like GPT-4v and Gemini now out in the wild, attackers have so many more doors they can try to open. Your whole attack surface has just been redrawn. It's not just about scanning the text in a prompt anymore. Now you've got to worry about every single way that data can get in.
And what this does is open up a huge, and honestly, pretty dangerous security blind spot. All those tools you've spent years carefully setting up to secure text-based AI, they're now flying completely blind to threats that are hidden inside images, audio files, or even videos.
Okay, so think about it like this. Your current setup is basically an AI security checkpoint. You're doing a great job inspecting all the text-based inputs, the prompts and documents, but you're completely missing the malicious instructions hidden in a photograph, or even crazier, whispered as an audio command that no human can even hear. Those threats are just waltzing right past security.
And this is the kicker. If an attacker hides a prompt injection, a command like ignore all previous instructions, just as plain text inside of an image, it's going to sail right past every single text-focused defense you have in place. Suddenly, your most mature security controls are basically useless.
So you might be thinking, how much bigger does this problem actually get? Well, adding these new channels, image, audio, video, doesn't just add new risks one by one. It actually creates a multiplier effect. It opens the door to brand new, complex vulnerabilities that just couldn't exist in a text-only world.
And look, we are not talking about a small bump here. Some research suggests that without the right security, these systems can be 3 to 5 times more vulnerable. Why? It's because attackers can now coordinate their attacks across different channels, exploiting the gaps between your defenses.
This table breaks it down perfectly. Let's just take a familiar risk, something like an evasion attack. Now, in a simple text-only system, an attacker has to fool one kind of defense. But in a multimodal system, they can just hunt for the weakest link in the chain. Maybe your image analysis isn't as strong as your text filtering, and use that one gap to compromise the whole system. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What do these new weapons in an attacker's arsenal actually look like? Let's take a quick tour of the threats that come from what your AI can see and what it can hear.
So first up, let's talk about image attacks. The most direct threat here is something called visual prompt injection. An attacker can literally write instructions right into an image file. Maybe it's in a tiny font or it's white text on a white background. Now, your AI's optical character recognition, its ability to read text from a picture, it'll see that command and it'll follow it, completely bypassing all of your text filters.
Then you've got audio. And this is where things start to feel a little bit like science fiction. There was research way back in 2017 called the Dolphin attack that proved you could give commands to voice assistants using frequencies that are too high for humans to hear, but microphones pick them up just fine. Well, the exact same idea applies here. Your AI could be getting instructions that are completely silent to everyone in the room.
But the most dangerous threat of all is what we call a cross-modal attack. This is where the attackers don't just go after one channel. Instead, they're exploiting the gaps, the seams between all these different channels. They find the modality you're protecting the least, and for a lot of us, that's image or audio, and that becomes their super highway right into your system.
Okay, so that's the problem. And yeah, it's a big one, but it's not unsolvable. So let's shift gears and talk about the solution, a practical 4-layer framework that you, as a security manager, can actually use to build a really comprehensive defense.
Look, a really solid defense needs security at every single step of the way. So we start with layer 1, modality-specific security. This is your front line, right? Securing each channel, image, audio, text on its own. Then you move to layer 2, cross-modal validation. This is so important. It's where you check for consistency across those channels. Does the picture tell the same story as the text? After that, layer 3, secure fusion. This protects the really critical point where all this data gets merged together inside the model. And finally, layer 4, output validation. This is your last line of defense, checking the AI's response for any sign of trouble before it goes out the door. Each layer is building on the one before it.
So what does this actually look like in the real world? For layer 1, it means you need defenses that are tailor-made for the job.
For images, you should be running OCR scans to find that hidden text we talked about and stripping out metadata that could be carrying malware. For audio, you're talking about filtering out those ultrasonic frequencies, or maybe using voice verification. You've got to have the right tool for each specific job.
Okay, I really need to pause on this one because it's a super common and really dangerous misconception. Just securing each channel by itself is not enough. The real cleverness from attackers happens in the interactions between the channels, which is exactly why that second layer, cross-modal validation, is so critical. You have to check if what the image is saying matches what the text is saying.
All right, so where do you even begin with all this? Let's take that big strategic framework and turn it into some concrete actions you can take starting today to shrink your multimodal attack surface.
So here's your action plan. A few things you can do, like right now. Number 1, your quick win. Mandate OCR scanning and metadata stripping for every single image your AI ingests. That's a policy you could probably implement this week. Second, sit down and map out all the different ways data can get into your system. Third, do a gap analysis. Which of those channels are basically undefended right now? And finally, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Lean on great resources like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework and the OWASP Top 10 for LLMs to help guide you as you build out these defenses.
And this really brings us to the final, and maybe the most important question you need to ask. Because this isn't just a technical problem, it's a fundamental business decision. Before you flip the switch and enable every possible input, ask yourself, does the business value we get from processing images or audio or video truly justify the significant new risks they bring to the table? Sometimes, the most secure decision you can make is to simply reduce the number of doors you have to defend in the first place.